everybody, it's me Shakti and I'm here live from London. Doing this heart to heart today with Kalyani Ma Mukti, who's going to be joining me in a minute. Kalyani, if you're watching, I've tagged you and I'm going to invite you into the call in a minute if I can figure out how to do it. I think I've forgotten, but I'll figure it out shortly. Now, just before I bring Kalyani onto the camera, I just want to say a little bit about myself for anyone who's watching this. So I'm Shakti Sundari and I'm a priestess of love and sacred sexuality. I'm a yogini, a tantrika, and I coach and teach women especially to connect with their divine feminine essence through Awakening Shakti, which is my online course, and through Dancing the Goddess, which is my own practice, and through one-to-one coaching. So the reason I'm doing this video today is a few reasons. One, that everything that I teach and bring into the world is an expression of inner union or divine union, whatever you want to call it. So Kundalini yoga, tantra, they are absolutely a practice of union. That's yoga means to yoke, to unify with. Secondly, in my Awakening Shakti online course, at the moment we're on the final month. It's been a 9-month journey for these beautiful women and myself, and in this final month, having really done some deep work with our inner feminine and meeting our masculine last month, we're now in this journey of bringing it all together in a beautiful divine union. So this interview's for that course and for anyone else. And then finally, of course, this is a universal life theme, right? We all love to love, we all live to love, we all love falling in love, and there's so much talk in the new age and spiritual circles about conscious relationships, authentic relationships, twin flames, soulmates, divine union. So I know that we are all longing for it. I'm on this path because I've been longing for it all my life. It's been my journey to really discover what that means to truly love. And I know this theme will be relevant to so many people in so many different ways and levels. So let me just bring Kalyani on and then I can introduce her to you. So let's see, where are you, Kalyani? I'm just going to, there you are. I'm going to add you now to the conversation. And it'll just take a couple of seconds for that to happen. So as she comes, we're just having a little conversation beforehand. We think we've known each other for about 11 years. We met at one of the very first Tantra workshops that I ever went to with Ma Ananta Sarita. And we've both kind of, there she is. Hello.
Hi, Shakti.
Hello, love. Good to see you. Just introducing you and saying how we met. Can't hear you very well.
Say that again.
Can't hear you very well.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, keep speaking up.
Okay,
yeah.
I will.
For some reason it's quite quiet. Yeah, we've gone on our own journeys, haven't we? And, you know, in those last 7 years, so much has happened.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I reckon it's about 12 years we've known each other.
Yeah. So here we are. And, well, you've recently moved to France. Half and half, anyway.
I have committed to the vision for my life ahead, and I have moved to France. I am French, and I have been living in the UK for 27 years now, but with Brexit and with just where my work, my own growth is taking me, and with the partner in my life now, we have decided that France is where we are aligned, where we are called. It has been a gradual process to find out where that location would be, but it really is there. So I have been very blessed to find a beautiful old farmhouse that has been renovated already. There's more work to do, but it's beautiful as it is already. And it's in Ardèche, which is just north of Provence, so it's sunny there and warm. Lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so we will come back to talk about that because I know that's a big part of your vision in your life and your work. But let's kind of begin for anyone who's watching this with the basics in terms of who you are and what you do, because I know you. You know, when we first met, you were a body worker, Reiki master. You were doing tantric massage, then you've trained in totality therapy with Shakti. You've done some really deep work with other teachers like Thesa, Sophia, and Fleur. And I know that your work has evolved and evolved and evolved, so that now you're describing yourself more as a transformational coach, as a shadow hunter. Watch out, people. Kalyani can see it. And the work that you do as being the yoga of the soul. So it's really deep work, and you work with men and women. So that's your individual work. But then you're also now offering, you have your own website and your own work together with Nick, your partner, which is called Inner Union, or in French. Can you say it for me? Because my French accent isn't brilliant.
Yeah, we've called it in French Union Intérieure.
Intérieur, I love that. Intérieur. So the question that's, you know, got to be asked is, how did you get to the point of offering that? Like, why and how did you get to offering Inner Union?
So we can only offer what we have worked on ourselves. I mean, you know that. That's why your offering is so beautiful to people, because I know you've done so much work. So for me, my quest has been to know and to be at one with the divine for myself. And that has brought me to the place I am today, where I see that I am a very different person that I was when I came to the UK all these years ago. So I came to the UK as an MBA student. I was very intellectual, very ambitious, but very much in my head.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, this body was there just to follow what my head was wanting to do. And for me, a real deep awakening call happened when I got pregnant, when I was 30. So I'd already been in the corporate world. I had met a man who became my husband and the father of my two girls. But suddenly there was this body who knew what to do, and my head could not control it. That was a real calling to drop back to my body. You know, Gaia, Mother Nature, just saying, you are here and you have a body, and this womb that is deep inside of you is alive, and it has the magic of being able to create life and grow, nurture that life. And there is nothing more special than that. So, whoa, from there, my life changed. And instead of seeking to grow and go up on the corporate ladder, I sought to grow in my wholeness, in finding myself, and in being the most embodied my soul can be at any time. And that is the most important thing for me now, so that when the day I die comes, I really feel a yes into letting go, because I have done everything I could do on this earth.
Wow.
Just so already we go, you can see how I am immediately really deep. I was like, okay, that's me. I can't help it. So on this journey, first I had to go back to my body, and I did that through learning massage. I let go of the corporate work because I realized that my daughters would not be bilingual in French if I continued on that. And I brought them up speaking French, but I also train to become an aromatherapist, learning massage, learning the body, and then started practicing that and saw very quickly the link between the body and the emotions. Emotions, now I know, first happen hormonally in our bodies before coming into our awareness. So if we ignore emotions, there are going to be some impact at a body level.
Sure.
And as I worked with these clients and releasing the body helped release some emotions, then my work went into, okay, some questioning. Why are we ignoring parts of the body that actually hold a lot of shadow, a lot of issues, a lot of history with people, which is all the sexual area. And I did some work with a client who was impotent. So it felt very safe for me to massage him, all his genital area. And it was a real gift from the universe because it opened to me the world of tantric massage organically.
Right.
And I then decided I wanted to train more in tantric massage to be able to work with all the sexual energy with people, and then found out how that sexual energy is such a fuel to our lives. It's just so nourishing to all our energy systems. It's not just there as an entertainment for us human beings. It really is at the source of the awakening of our body energetically to further levels.
Yes.
So I practiced tantric massage and then realized how, because people feel very safe with me and their body felt very safe and I made them feel whole, suddenly the body wanted to release a lot more. And some of the subconscious of these clients was wanting to be met. And I didn't feel I had enough tools or experience with the training I had done at a body level. And I searched at that time for a teacher for some time, and I eventually met Shakti Malan, who really had that capacity and shared with me all the tools through her totality therapy training. So I trained extensively with her. I went on to apprenticeship with her, and I completed my apprenticeship with her after working with clients as a totality therapy practitioner for 2 years. Letting go of the tantric massage, which I can still offer, but really focusing on, okay, what is it that is stopping people from feeling more alive in themselves and really there going to hunt the shadows.
Right. So this is your own evolution, your own path of inquiry from that aha moment of reconnecting to your body to then offering body work, discovering the connection between the body and the emotions, discovering the connection between that and the subconscious, and sexuality being a huge part of that. So it just sounds as if it's just this ongoing deepening. But all the way through that, what was your what was your question? What was your calling that sort of kept pulling you to go another level deeper with this work? Because some people might just stay at that, one part and do that for a long time, and you've just kept going.
Yeah, I would say it's that knowing that there is more available to be more fully in truth, and to be more, I don't know, in more aligned with source, more of myself available to myself and to share with others. And as part of that, I realized that, as you know, I had done a lot of the reclaiming of my femininity, my feminine sexual awakening. My journey had been from going into this world with a strong masculine.
Right.
I was a very good, strong corporate man.
Yep.
I then put him to the side, that inner part of me, as I went and reclaimed my inner feminine and my sexual feminine awakening with all of Shakti's work. And then I sensed how, okay, I'd spent so long with the feminine, you know, it was several years. I then had to go and meet that masculine part of me again.
Yeah.
That had been patiently waiting there. I'd been watching what was happening and now needed also some work itself. And then it's that constant knowing in me that my inner feminine and my inner masculine want to be in that deep inner union and want to meet themselves in the most aligned and loving way possible. But that often happens with one side, something shifts, or there's something I see through what life brings to me that brings a healing to a certain aspect of my shadows, and that's ongoing.
Yeah.
So that part rises energetically, and then the other part then has to rise again, and then the other part will rise. And so it's constantly, that's why for me it's a constant evolution. And a calling to that divine union within myself first,
Yeah.
in all that I am and all that I do,
Yeah.
which then can be reflected on the outside.
Yeah. So this is
So
the next
through
question, is how
Yeah.
how all of this deep work that you were doing with your feminine and then with your masculine and then bringing them together and exploring that inner relationship, how was this being mirrored for you on the outside?
Yeah. So my relationship evolved very much so. And I am now with a different partner than I have been. So I am still technically married to the father of my children, but we have agreed to separate over a year ago. So we are in the process of that separation. But we approach that from a place of very much knowing that we were not aligned anymore, and sensing that instead of going into a fight, we were still at a place where, you know, there is still some care for the other. We have shared 21 years of marriage. We have 2 beautiful children, and we were still wishing each other well for the future. So we managed to catch that moment in time where the parting was able to be smooth. So we have separated and we are working the administrative side, but we are now both deeply involved with other partners. And my journey with my current partner has very much been that alignment with being with someone who is also seeking that inner union for himself. And I really like what you said in your newsletter when you introduced this call, that, you know, the divine union is not a bed of roses. Because it is not. You know, a loving, authentic relationship will continuously want to shake us to the core and bring our shadows up,
Yep.
so that we continuously drop deeper into more love.
Yep.
But we can only drop into more love if we are willing to stay in the challenge when the challenge arises.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to actually address that a bit more, because I think this is really key, for a couple of reasons. So, you know, my own journey is similar but different in that same devotion to the divine and the devotion to knowing and living in this as sort of deeply as I can in union with Source. That's my path, that's my calling. And I've also grown up, like many people, and maybe you too, I don't know, with this very romantic idea of love and the perfect partner and happy ever after.
Happy ever after.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the New Age circles, soulmates, twin flames, and all of those narratives that are kind of really big, and also divine union. You know, I've used that consciously, but I know so many people could be projecting other things onto that in terms of, oh, it's going to be a way for me to find the perfect man. So have you ever had that same romanticized notion? Did you have to come up against it, or have you always approached that differently anyway?
Well, I had it with the father of my children, because I was on this journey and I was very much conditioned to seeking that.
Mm.
But very soon, anybody in a relationship realizes that perfection doesn't exist. Perfection is a denying of the humanness of the individual, because we have shadows. Shadows are part of us, just like the light is part of us. So seeking perfection is utopia. What we need to seek is the realness of the other.
I like that.
That's where the beauty lies. And the realness of the other means, they will have days where they're just not happy. They will have days where they don't want to talk to you. They will have days where all they say gets on your nerves.
So how do you, in that case, how do you choose the one to be in partnership with, and how do you know the difference between someone you're not aligned with and someone who's getting on your nerves all the time and someone who just gets on your nerves sometimes, and that's part of the process?
Yeah. I don't think I choose. I think my heart chooses. Yeah. I know you'd like that. Because there's a deep wisdom within us that bypasses the mind, that knows who is the partner that's going to be the best for us to grow in love. And I mean, not in love with them, I mean in love as in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
The love with them is part of it, but it's only a small part of it. So that deep knowing is what gets you to be in a room and suddenly catch somebody's eyes, and something, it's in our heart, something in our heart goes ka-ching. Oh, okay. I know I need to go and meet that person.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's almost what I have shared with people is that it's like there's a vibrational field, and your field totally vibrates with the field of that person. You are at the same level, or the same range. And our soul knows that the quickest way to grow is to be in a relationship. That's going to really ruffle our feathers.
Yes.
So that match is there. and our soul goes, yay, we found somebody, let's do it. But we're not going to want to enter into those challenging times with another if we haven't had first the honeymoon period. The, oh, that's so lovely. And so that's the incentive. We know the potential, we taste it, and then the challenges arise. And that is the same for any relationship, that we are approaching them consciously or not.
Yeah.
The way to react to the challenges are different if they are approached from a conscious perspective or whether they are approached from a more modern, normal society perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got a couple of questions about that as well. So, I just had an experience where I felt I met someone where there was that, like, the soul knew instantly, this one, here it is. And he's at the moment choosing to go somewhere else. So my soul's feeling a little bit hurt by that at the moment. And as I was processing it, my heart is feeling it, actually. My heart is feeling it. My soul knows everything's fine. But my heart's feeling my soul knows everything's fine, but my heart's feeling some grief and pain. But we went very quickly through, in a very short space of time, perfection and then shadow arising. And at some point in the processing, I was thinking, is there a way to do this without this happening? Do I have to be processing my shadow all my life? Will I ever get to a place where there's none of this processing? I just want an easy ride for a few, just come on, universe.
Well, I think you can have an easy ride at times, but the processing never stops.
I know.
I think what I would say, when those meetings happen and the soul of both people know and that attraction is there, there is always individual choice.
Yeah.
And however much we know that the journey with this person would be so fulfilling, so beautiful, so even of service to us, but also to the world, there is always free will. And that's infuriating.
I know. Damn it.
Yes.
And what about those challenges? So you talked about, I think this is really important, because I'm wondering if people are watching this and thinking divine union, and here they are talking about the shadow, and challenges, and it's not a bed of roses. And for me also, I totally understand that that's where it's at. It's like the light is, and the love is there, and the purpose of the union is to love all of us back into wholeness. So it's like, in a way, every time a shadow rises, that's the gift of the union. But I guess it is how we then approach it, how we deal with it as it arises, and the conscious or the unconscious ways that might happen. So how would we approach it differently, if we're bringing conscious awareness to it, in the understanding that that's what this union is for?
For me, bringing consciousness to it is about staying with what is arising.
Yeah.
Often what is arising is painful.
Yeah.
hooks onto an old wound we have within us,
Yeah.
that often we have very cleverly, through our mind, through our conditioning, hidden very deep within us. And then this person arises, and somehow the same energy, and something in us go, no, 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 I've spent years hiding that. How dare you make me feel that? So the immediate response is to attack.
Mm-hmm.
The immediate response is to challenge the other.
Or run away.
It's like to say, do not dare make me feel this.
Mm.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
Aha! Actually, yes, they're creating, but the reaction in you is yours. The reaction you have to own.
Yes.
So, I know personally, and it's an ongoing journey, I have been working at many levels with the core wound of mine, which is the wound of abandonment. I mean, it's wound that is there for a lot of people. And yeah, it keeps arising, and when I'm feeling it, I'm taking it and I'm saying, okay, there's something more for me to work with. And that may require at times taking some time out from being always with the other, with your partner. So it's saying, okay, something is arising and I need some time to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you mentioned, is being in an authentic relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it's really acknowledging what's going on for us and taking responsibilities and wanting to address it. Not avoiding any pain.
Not avoiding any pain. Yeah. Yeah.
But that the reward is, as we process that and the pain is there to be met and then will leave us,
Yeah.
it creates more space within us for love, more space within us to meet the other again and access deeper levels of intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that is kind of different. It's like it's almost the opposite to what we've been taught and modeled. So we've been modeled and conditioned to hide, to withdraw, to blame, to cover up, to repress. And my knowing and experiences, the more honest and open and vulnerable I am with whatever is happening for me, the more intimacy is created and the more love is possible. And I even had that experience in that, in this recent situation of mine where, we both, something got triggered, and in the other, something got triggered in me as a result of that, and we were both able to really honestly own and process and feel. It was uncomfortable, it was painful. I felt my heart was breaking for a couple of days, and then share from that really tender, vulnerable, raw place the reality of our own experience. And it was so heart-opening. Like, my heart just opened to levels even greater as a result. And I wasn't necessarily hearing what my ego wanted to hear, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, because my body recognized the truth of the words, and my whole nervous system just went, oh, because I knew there was no lies. There was nothing for me to push against or resist or project onto. It was just truth, and my whole body just relaxed, and my heart just went, oh,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So are there particular tools or techniques that have really helped you that you use and that you have used in this journey? I mean, you know, you can't teach tools now, this isn't the time for it, but are there particular things that have really helped you in this journey of union?
I think meditation. Meditation is really core.
Why?
And well, I approach meditation from both the masculine and the feminine perspective
Mm-hmm.
to grow my capacity for being aware, both in my masculine way of being aware and my feminine way of being aware.
What do you
Because
mean
when
by
I
that,
am,
Kalyani? I mean, I think I know, but for people watching.
yeah, yeah. So the masculine capacity of being aware is about being deeply present and to be very still in that presence. So as I'm speaking, I'm embodying that.
Hmm.
And it's like there. So that is cultivated in meditation by what we would traditionally know as meditation. You know,
Yeah.
that's standing, eyes closed or fixed on a point and not moving, and the letting go of the mind.
Yeah.
The feminine way for me of meditating is developing a different kind of presence, which is a presence deeply to my body, to every cell, to every capacity for flow that I hold, and all the movement, the dancing you do, that you offer. That is very much cultivating the feminine capacity of meditation, of being in flow. And that flow means that I am constantly in awareness of my emotions, of what's arising, what's bubbling up in me, but also what's bubbling up in the other,
Hmm.
what's bubbling up in the world around me.
Hmm.
And when I then bring the two in balance, that's why the inner union is wonderful. When those two are balanced and work with each other, I notice things constantly.
Hmm.
I don't have to act on everything immediately. And there are things I notice that I say, okay, I hear you, but that's okay. I don't need to do anything about that. But that capacity for awareness is really key. So you catch things before they can become dramas, for instance.
Yeah. I've
Things don't
noticed.
have to
Go
build
on.
up.
Sorry.
Things don't have to build up, because the awareness will bring the understanding of what is arising.
Hmm.
Why is that person saying that?
Mm-hmm.
What's underneath it?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I reacting to what they are saying? Okay, what is it in me that's being triggered?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally get this in my online course, Awakening Shakti. The very first module is meditation,
Mm,
because I think it's such a foundational piece for everything else. So we spend the whole of the first month just focusing on cultivating a meditation practice, both masculine and feminine styles, but to
yeah,
have that level of awareness to make the journey, because then we do go into a lot of the shadow, and without that, you know, there's no, and then it's beautiful because it comes back when we meet the masculine at the end,
yes,
and you know, there's a much deeper and richer capacity to hold oneself as a result,
mm-hmm,
without going into that reactivity.
yeah.
So is there is there one practice that you have that's daily, that's specifically about inner union, or is it just, as you're saying, these different meditation practices?
For me, even the simple act of breathing can be about the inner union.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I bring my awareness to it, the breath in is the flow, the instant in between is the stillness.
Yeah.
And almost that brings the merging, and then the expelling is the revelation. And then the next in breath is, okay, what comes next? So that's instant.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, everyone, that's a tantric practice. People think that tantra is all about sex.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but not on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just beginning to bring the conversation to a conclusion in terms of where you are now with your beautiful work and your offerings. What is inner union? You know, you're doing this and offering this together with your partner, Nick. What is the vision and what are the offerings?
So our offerings are changing now that we have this beautiful base in the Ardèche in the south of France. And I was reflecting with him. We only got the key 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
So yeah, we worked very hard this summer, and this is our opportunity to really bring our vision into manifestation. So it also requires patience, and we have a lot of that. But it's about showing how the inner union aspect of both partners can really manifest what people would call miracles, because there's an alignment. The universe likes things easy and flowing. It's, we are human beings are the one complicating everything. So inner union is about dropping back in ourselves and finding what is in the way of that pure, authentic meeting within us of the masculine and the feminine, so that we can be whole in every moment. So the work, and we have our first retreat happening there the 20th to the 22nd of September. We are calling it, that one, a self-care retreat. It's about just arriving and dropping in, and with what arises, we will work. But it's about arriving, letting go, finding yourself in a place of rest first, because our nervous system is just pushed so much. Information, we're bombarded with information all the time. So just arriving, letting go, letting the space that we have created, and letting the nature all around, the woodland, the beautiful Ardèche scenery, just welcome people. And we call this place La Source because it has the purest water you will have ever tasted. It is foraged at 180 meters below, and the water exists at level a lot higher, but the previous owners wanted to go to that depth to really get a very pure water. And the water is at the core of us and is at the core of this place. So the water people drink in the place will be having that intention. The water you bathe with in the swimming pool will have that effect on the body. The water you wash with in the house is all the same water. We have no other water source. Wow. And that water, mixed with that intention of bringing inner union to the individual, so that you return to the world more whole, more able to meet the other, more able to meet your partner, more able to meet your work from a place of inner union is what is our vision. Isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful. And also you kind of made me curious now, because you mentioned manifestation, and you mentioned how your inner union and Nick's inner union, and then you're being together in that as two kind of sovereign beings. And again, just want to highlight for people that that doesn't mean that either of you have reached a state of kind of a static evolution where you're like, right, I'm unified now. It's like it is a constant. However,
Yeah.
but you talked, and I think this is quite interesting, about how that's somehow enabled you now to manifest really a place of your dreams. And I know that your newsletter is called A Life in Flow Together. So somehow this inner union has enabled you to tap into and ride with life in a, despite the challenges that we've also talked about, but to kind of flow with life. Can you just say a little bit about that? I think that's interesting.
Yes. I mentioned earlier in our conversation how sexual energy is the energy of life, of aliveness. Of it, it has a magical element to it. You know, it creates life. We are birthed out of it. So when two people who are approaching the act of lovemaking as the most sacred act and enter it with the intention of going beyond just a sexual titillation and enter the act of making love as a sacred act, then that sexual energy that comes from both partner mixes and becomes more than the sum of the two of us. And it then becomes, it's called Tantra, but that act of lovemaking with intention and with the willingness to totally give of each other into the not knowing means that when the lovemaking ends and you return to yourself, there is so much enrichment that overflows from each of us, that enables the alignment in love of something. And we are both bringing our own essence to la source, and we are both very much ourselves in our offering, but also we realize that there is that element of manifesting through the sacredness of the sexual energy that we very much share and nurture between us.
Wow. Kalyani, I'm really, can I just ask you, you've made me think of a few more questions. Like, somebody's watching this and they're single, and now you're talking about this beautiful sexual union and this beautiful manifestation, this beautiful conscious relationship that you are enjoying, and they're single and they want to experience this. They want to embody the divine union. They might want a partner. They might want to manifest and be feeling a little bit left out right now. So can you just speak to the single person as well as the person in relationship about this?
Yeah. So for the single person, I would say, do your work. Do this work of already going in and exploring your shadows, because that means that you create more room in your life for being ready, being attracting to your life maybe a different kind of partner than the one you've had before, because you will be a different person. So being single, it means your divine union is first and foremost your union with yourself, so that you can then approach at some point another, not from a place of neediness, but from a place of pure sharing.
Yeah, so you don't have to be in a relationship to experience union. I think that's really important to say. And then on the other hand, what if I'm in a relationship and the relationship's really not good? And I want this for myself too. What do you do then?
Well, I say to my clients, if you don't change anything, nothing's going to change. And people don't want to hear that. So if you are in a relationship where you are not happy, listen within why you are not happy and what are you willing to change. And moving into authenticity, dropping the masks, and also not expecting what the other person in the relationship may say or may not say, really starting to engage into communication that is willing. Because often couples who come and speak to me, they know there's an issue, but they have not really wanted to talk about it. So being authentic and being something's not working for me, and often people are not sure what it is, but starting to explore. If you don't change anything, nothing's going to change.
Why are you so passionate about this work now? How do you think it's like, how do you see it in the wider context of what's happening in the world?
Well, the world is in trouble. There's different levels, but beyond what's happening politically at the moment in Europe with Brexit and all that, and in the UK, the world at large is in big trouble. We don't know if it's going to be a good enough vessel for us beyond a few years. But for me, the things I can change starts with me. And if I can become more whole in myself, I know that the ripples will happen. And if everybody in the world did that work, how much different would the world be? So for me, this is my way of changing the world with what I know I'm good at and what I can do and what I want to do for myself and to lead through my example. That's all I can say.
Beautiful. Yeah. You know what, because we haven't spoken for a little while, what I really notice in our conversation is the deepening of your inner union, if I'm quite honest, because I can really notice, see and feel the depth of presence of both masculine and feminine within you.
Thank you.
And so the wisdom, the clarity, the depth that you are embodying is so beautiful, so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we will put underneath how people can reach you at La Source, and you and Nick for your work on inner union, but also you individually for your transformational coaching and shadow hunting and yoga of the soul. And I'm sure that people may have written some comments and questions which I haven't even looked at. So again, if you were...
Yeah, the conversation was so rich.
And we've covered we've been talking for almost an hour. It's a really long time. I like these depth conversations. So thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom.
Thank you for inviting me and enabling me to share this journey.
Yeah.
And I really deeply value, appreciate, and honor what you are doing as well. This work is needed, and you are doing it beautifully. And I love your passion about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lots of love, Kalyani, and thank you to everyone who's been joining along, watching, commenting. We'll have a look at your comments and reply to any questions or comments that are there as well. So till next time, lots of love and go well. Blessings.